Okay, this video is going to save you a ton of time because it is so time consuming to try to find your audience in the wrong social media platform. So this way, if you're watching the video to the end, you will actually be able to invest time to work on your message rather than trying to find people who resonate with your message. And believe me, I've learned this the hard way because about a year or two ago, I have started a podcast, which was actually quite good. It had quite some good content. I interviewed Nobel Prize winners, CEOs, and so on. But nobody was listening to the podcast because nobody found the podcast. So I started to get more into social media algorithms so that my work can actually be seen and found by people. And this is where I made a lot of mistakes and where I have learned a lot. So learn from my mistakes and save time. Also, if you found the video helpful, then be sure to subscribe because I give more social media algorithms advice on this channel. And give it a like. So maybe if you look at my channel, you know that I am a Twitter girl, but still I try to be as objective as possible. And the first thing, and probably the most important thing that you want to look at, is reach. Where do you reach the most people? And I think Twitter is a lot better for reaching more and a larger new audience. So on Twitter, people will not only see the tweets of the people they are following, they will also see if the people they are following are retweeting another person's tweet. So Twitter has the retweet function, which is super handy. They will also see if the people that they are following have replied to another person's tweet. So the other person's tweet will also show up in their timeline without even having to follow them. And sometimes it will even show them if another person they are following has liked a tweet. So this is a great way to reach a new following. Connecting people that are not following each other is actually the core identity of Twitter. So I think in order to reach a new audience, Twitter is an awesome tool. Compared to that, Instagram only has the hashtags to discover new people. People can follow hashtags on Instagram, and this way also posts of people that they are not following will show up in their timeline. But the hashtag strategy on Instagram is actually quite complex. I figured it out a little bit. I figured out which hashtags are going to work for me. And when I use certain hashtags, then I can see that sometimes 70% of the people who have seen my post have not been following me. But it takes a lot more strategy. Also, this is just a silly thing. Maybe I'm the only one who has this problem. But when I follow a hashtag, then it is so difficult to actually get to the profile of the person to check out their other tweets. So if your goal is to not only reach a lot of people who haven't followed you, but also to convert those people into followers, then I think Twitter is the better choice. The second thing is to insert links. Likely, maybe you have a business, or maybe you have a publication, maybe, there are tons of things that you are probably doing outside of social media that you want to direct your followers to. Allowing your followers to click on a link easily is a very, very important feature if you want more than just having followers for the sake of having them. And Twitter allows you to insert a link into every tweet, and then people click on it, and then they are directed to wherever you want to direct them. So this is very, very straightforward and very, very simple. Instagram only has one clickable link, and this clickable link is in your actual profile. So you cannot insert any links into your post. So actually, whenever you want to redirect people to, for instance, your website, then you have to do like an engaging post that is engaging enough so that people expand the details of your post, and then say, if you're interested in more, then click on my profile and then click on the link in my profile. And then to spin it even further, if you have more links that you want to present to your audience, then you have this link tree thing. So it is not only first click on my profile, then click in the link in my profile, and then click on the link in my profile. So this is making your life actually pretty difficult. And frankly, when was the last time that you have done this when you've seen a post? I never click on people's profiles and click on the links in their profile. So I don't think it is a very, very good tool. The third thing that is very, very important on social media is the search function. So likely you want to check out what your potential customers, your potential readers, and your potential viewers like. So you want to find where they hang out on Instagram or on Twitter. And Twitter has this brilliant search function where you can just type in a few words. For instance, my target audience used to be exclusively academics for a very, very long time. So in the search function, you can just type in PhD and Twitter or something like that. This is something that I used to do quite often. And then all of the people who have used the words PhD and Twitter in the same tweet show up. And those are possibly a target audience for me. Well, on Instagram, the only things that you can search for is what people have been writing about themselves in the description of their profile, but you cannot search for words that people have been using in their posts. I actually have to chime in from the edit because the thing that I wanted to bring across in the next part didn't come across, so I will explain it to you again from here. So let's say, for example, you want to target fellow PhD candidates who are interested in developmental biology and Drosophila. And I'm saying this because I'm taking my friend Khan from Slice of Science as an example. Let's say he is your target audience. Then usually on Twitter, you would type in, PhD candidate, Drosophila, developmental biology, and the tweets that he has made would come up, and it would be clear from his tweets that he is interested in this. While on Instagram, the only thing that you can search for is the things that people have been writing in the bio. So in this little thing that is describing, like this little character summary. Actually, because Khan happens to be also an amazing science photographer, and his profile is mainly about science photography, he didn't mention developmental biology or anything in his bio. So he would actually fall through the filter of your search only because he has not been writing this in his bio. And this is a huge problem if you're trying to find your target audience, because very, very often the thing that you are targeting in them is not defining enough for them to write it in their bio. And this is why I prefer the Twitter search function, because there you have access to everything that the person has ever written, and you can find people based on what they have written rather than how they describe themselves. Fourth is practicality. On Instagram, you, of course, need to have some visual post that is in the form of a photo. This is the whole point of Instagram. And for me, honestly, this is quite a hassle because I don't like to post things from my private life. It is rather that I don't like to interrupt my private life to take a post for Instagram. So in the end, I don't have much photo content because it just doesn't work with the way that I live and the way that I work. So this is making it very, very unpractical for me to use Instagram. And usually I just share screenshots of my tweets and I share screenshots of my thumbnails. In contrast to that, for me, Twitter is very, very easy to use because I just have a thought, like for instance, on the train, I listen to a podcast and then I have an interesting thought and I will tweet about it. And very often I have lots of interesting thoughts while I listen to a podcast. So I save the tweets. And then at times where I don't have many interesting things to talk about, then I will go back to the thoughts that I have written down while I was listening to this one podcast, and I will tweet about that. So for me personally, creating a post on Twitter takes a maximum of 5 minutes, usually less. While for Instagram is first taking a photo, then writing the description, then editing the photo, and then uploading it, and also finding the right hashtag strategy. So for me, it is too much hassle for too little outcome. Because once again, my goal is to redirect people, usually to my YouTube videos. The conversion from the post towards people that are actually clicking on the YouTube videos is not worth for me to go through the entire effort. Like I said, you can probably hear that I am rather team Twitter, and I've actually accumulated a lot of knowledge about Twitter. So in case you're interested in more, then also become a Patreon. I've actually started a Patreon recently, and I've gotten a lot of questions in the DMs that I cannot all answer anymore in a dedicated way. So I thought I would give preference to Patreons of this channel. Also, if you just want to help me out a little bit because it takes a lot of work to produce all of this content, then also become a Patreon, and there's a tiny tier where you can do a thank you donation. Then yes, every single bit helps. So become a Patreon, and I will link to it in the description box below. Now let's come to the Instagram advantages and why I'm still using Instagram a little bit. And I think Instagram is a great tool to add character to your brand. So for instance, I use Insta Stories quite a lot, and I'm being a little bit quirky. This is so much fun. It is like, wait, this thing is, when I move, I can move. Here I'm talking about behind the scenes things. I'm asking some little questions. So I think this is a great tool if you want to show another facet of yourself. And this is something that is rather difficult on Twitter because usually you only have, the things that you have written down, but you are completely missing out on tone of voice or body language and all of those things. And you can do the same thing in posts. So since Instagram is more visual, it is also easier to add visual character to your brand. And another thing that I find very handy about Instagram is shelf life. So on Twitter, even though you can, in theory, scroll through the timeline, people are tweeting so much and also are retweeting so much that usually tweets get lost within the next 24 or 48 hours, and people, like the usual follower, will not find your tweets again, which means that if you have a link in your tweet, you will have to repost it again and again and again with sort of different content to redirect people to your website or whatever it is all of the time. Well, on Instagram, you have this neat feed where even though it is very difficult to link to things, still, if you have a post that is attention grabbing and that actually converts people into visitors of your website, then you have this like as evergreen content. So this is a lot more handy, and your posts on Instagram don't get lost as easily as your tweets on Twitter. So in summary, I think that Twitter is the better platform to first identify your audience, to reach new followers, and also to redirect people who read your tweet to your website. Well, Instagram is great to add character, and Instagram is great to have more evergreen content. Also, of course, if you have a very, very visual brand, for instance, if you're producing clothes, then it is a lot better to be on Instagram instead of to describe whatever it is that you're producing in a tweet. So, of course, it comes down to where your audience actually hangs out. Academics, who used to be my target audience for a very, very long time exclusively, hang out on Twitter. So for me, also for that reason, it made no sense to be on Instagram because academics usually interact on Twitter. The platform that your target audience uses the most is the platform that you should be choosing. If your target audience is hanging around on both platforms, then I personally think Twitter is the more favorable online or social media platform. So which social media platform do you use? So if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me, let me know in the comments below. And if you found that it has actually saved you time, then give this video a like. It is going to help me a lot to reach a larger audience. And again, if you want more advice on Twitter in particular, then also subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. And if you want more Twitter advice of videos that I've already produced, then click on the playlist right here and it directs you to a ton of other videos that are going to help you. And also check out my 3-step tweet formula, where I get into detail of how to craft a tweet that is actually going to grab people's attention and that is making people interact with your tweet. And you can find the link to my 3-step tweet formula in the description box below. And with this, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful social media experience, and take good care of yourself. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Just as always, you are getting very good quality content from me. And seriously, I don't think content today is getting any better. So I hope this was a little bit fun. And wait, my hand is kind of ruining everything.